good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where and when you are listening to this. This is Coffee with Kevin. Coffee with Kevin. And of course, as always, there's coffee. It's a new coffee cup of mine from the state of New Hampshire. Thank you to my sister in law, Judy Martin. She gave me that, and she gave me, knowing that I am all about coffee. Life begins with coffee. This is a diffuser. You put the scented diffusing tablets up the top. The light warms it up, and you can have a smell of coffee if you want throughout the entire house. Isn't that great? I'm Kevin Martin, a hypnotherapist, a mindset coach, an author, and my new book. I got to get the hand right. My new book, Living Your Dream Life Simply by Changing Your Perceptions. This is a second edition, but it's been entirely changed. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be, we're releasing on Friday. We're releasing on Friday. So it's going to be wonderful that we can have that. Okay. Fantastic. It is May 6th. May, the fifth month of the year already, 2025. Can you believe it? I missed May 4th. I was hoping this would be on May 4th, the first Tuesday, the Tuesday on May 4th, but it wasn't this year. So I can't say May the 4th be with you. I wanted to say that, and I just did it anyway. Yes, this is wonderful. This is just so cool to be able to you know, have us going. It's almost 5.5 years now. Next month, it'll be 5.5 years that we've been doing Coffee with Kevin. That's a lot of coffee, and I don't mind. hmm Don't mind a lot of coffee at all. I'm really tempted. I see, as I'm sipping, I see the label there. And I've been tempted 2 or 3 times just to tip it over to read the label. It would be a mess. I've done this before, by the way. Not with coffee, but I've done that before. Today, on May 4th, May 6th, a couple of things happened today, a few things happened today. One of the coolest things is the English Channel Tunnel. The tunnel between England and France opened in 1994. It opened in 1994. People could now, instead of flying, just take a train or even drive from England to France. And France to England is no longer a big deal. So yeah, that was just an awesome thing. I've been to England and France, England several times, and I've never gotten the chance to do that. I wanted to, just not enough time when I'm out there working. Mm, Coffee is so good. I hope you have your hot cup of coffee. I hope you have a hot cup of tea or any kind of drink, even water, juice, smoothie, whatever it is, to you on this beautiful day of May 6th. hmm What happened also on today? 2004, guess what? The first episode of Friends. We all know that wonderful TV series. The first episode of Friends aired on this day in 2004. 1937, the Hindenburg disaster. I actually I studied this when I was a younger kid. I was just so fascinated. We had these gigantic balloons that would travel through the air, that would travel from country to country. And I believe maybe even traveled overseas. And they were luxury traveling. It was slow, sure. After the Hindenburg blew up, killing dozens of people, if I remember right, there was not much more for air balloon travel. We still have them today for advertising, those small ones that go float over football games and stuff like that with the cameras from the balloons. And, we have them, but we don't use them for travel anymore. Lo and behold, though, we have a new form of travel to the atmosphere, travel to space. One of the ways to travel to the atmosphere is by balloon. Not a regular balloon, not a hot air balloon, but I don't recall whether those have helium, but it'll bring you miles and miles up straight into the air to get into the atmosphere. If I remember right, you can get a ticket for something like that for only $250,000 or $500,000. Don't remember what it was. I wasn't actually putting it in my budget for that. Another thing that happened, an incredibly famous thing, maybe not for most people, but people who are in personal development in 1954, Roger Bannister. Roger Bannister became a superhuman. Superhuman. He beat the 4 minute mile. Now, why did I say he became a superhuman? Because up until then, scientists, doctors said it was humanly impossible to run that fast. No one could do it. Lots of people had tried over and over and over again. Roger Bannister wasn't listening to that. He saw impossible as I'm possible. And he beat it. And the funny thing is, he wasn't that superhuman person anymore because shortly after, I think within a year, his record was broken. And then time and time again, those records were broken. There are so many people that run less than a 4 minute mile. No, was it just because something happened in that moment that just opened the barrier for everyone? Sure. What happened was Roger Bannister went against all odds in what everybody was saying. Now, what everybody was saying was a limitation they had put on just about all the runners except for Roger. And after Roger broke that limitation was gone. Now runners could get through there. I say that's important because that's in our lives too. That's in our lives too. Sometimes we have something that we somehow believe we can't get through, we can't do. Everybody else is saying, hey, no, no, that's impossible. You can't do it. And you can't until you do it. Today's all about inspiration. I hope that was inspirational. It's funny. I intended this coffee with Kevin to be an inspiration. A weekly inspiration. You come in here and you listen and you get inspired. Brenda Martin, good morning. And you get to listen to these things. Well, today we're speaking specifically about inspiration. I believe in inspiration. I believe that we have to be inspired from time to time, maybe more often. Maybe we should look for daily inspirations. There's plenty of calendars and little books for daily inspiration. Inspiration and motivation are hand in hand. They're not exactly the same, but they're hand in hand. And about motivation, Zig Ziglar says motivation, let's see if I get this right. Motivation is like taking a bath. Okay? You don't always need it, but it's really good for you and everyone around you for you to take one. Get it once a day. So motivation is like that. That probably isn't the best version of that quote, but it's similar. Anyway, hey Joan, good morning. Wow, this is great. We're getting some people on Facebook coming in. It's great to see you. Again, if you're listening on LinkedIn, my software does not allow me to see any comments. So if you are on LinkedIn, please comment. I'll go back and I'll take a look at them. Please comment. Please, listen and share this if you like it. Share this if you like it. Now let's get to today's. We went through today in history. It's a big day in history. There were also a lot of birthdays. I didn't write them down. I got them here though. I got them here. Let's see whose birthdays. Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud. His birthday was in 1856. Wow. And Orson Welles, filmmaker, his birthday was in 1915. So we got a few birthdays. And Willie Mays, we'll bring in the sports. Willie Mays was born in 1931, and he just passed away last year. Just passed away last year. I didn't realize that. I thought Willie Mays was much further in the past. Wow. That's incredible. Time flies. Let's take a look at our quotes today. Okay. I always like this one. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Now, Peter Drucker was talking for business. He was talking about businesses, but this is for us personally as well. We're always worried about the future. We're always worried about what's going to happen to me, what's going to happen in this world. Well, what am I going to do to start to shape it, to start to steer myself in the right direction? That's what you'd be thinking. The best way to predict the future is to create it. And there's been so many people out there that have done incredible jobs in creating it. And I could mention names that we all know. Martin Luther King, Gandhi. There's many people that have shaped the future. They actually went out and forced. But there's so many more, millions upon millions of ordinary people that create their future every day. They purposely think about what they want to do and what they have to do to get there. And they start doing it. Those are the heroes because they create their own future. And in doing so, they create the future for the people around them, their own families and their friends and everything else. We do that all the time. The next one. Don't wait for inspiration. It comes while working. I love this. I don't know who Henry Matisse is, but sometimes we're sitting there and we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting. What am I going to do? How am I going to do? And I get stuck in those modes too. And when we finally said, okay, let's just start doing something, and inspiration does come. Inspiration does come. And sometimes that inspiration comes in really weird and wild places. How many of you got inspired in the shower, right? If you were sitting at your desk stuck and didn't want to move, no inspiration. You get up, you do something, you take a walk, you take a shower, go for a drive, get your breath. I talked about this a while ago. There's a great book out there. And I talked about it a while ago, and that's why not coming to me. It's not coming to me. It's called the MacGyver technique, and it's all about how the person who wrote MacGyver actually had to get the inspiration many times in dealing with the show, and he figured out how to, and he figured out how he could actually, once he realized how he was doing it, he could do it in minutes. Right? He says it takes about at least 15 minutes. You distract yourself from what you're doing and you go do something else, and all of a sudden the inspiration comes. Don't wait for inspiration. It comes while working. It comes while you're doing something. Don't sit there and say, oh, I can't do it. I need to be inspired. Do something. Okay. Now, Joan says she loves Zig Ziglar. So, Joan, this is for you. All right. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. This is another thing about being stuck. Just do something. Start something. You want something and it's huge. Start. What do you have to do first? And it's probably just a small thing, but get it started. Get it started. That's something in our lives all the time. We want to go towards something and it seems so big, and we're waiting for the moment that we can start that big moment. No, there's this moment. If you have to start with just getting a piece of paper and start writing down the steps that you're going to take, that's a start. That's a start. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. What do we have next? Don't wait for inspiration. It comes while working. Didn't I just say that? I guess I like this so much, I have this in here twice. Let's go to the next. Expect the best. Prepare for the worst. Capitalize on what comes. A lot of us go through life expecting the worst. And you have this saying that comes from that strategy. It says, if I lower my expectations, I'll never be taken by surprise. Matter of fact, I'll enjoy once things do actually work out. No, no, I actually just created a video on chapter 1 of my book. And in there, it's all about where is your bar? Where are your expectations? And if you lower your expectations just so you can make them so things will happen the way you want, just so you don't get disappointed, you never get anywhere. You never grow. You never grow. So expect the best. Prepare for the worst. Now it says don't think about the worst. It says prepare for the worst. If this doesn't happen, what will I do? What can I do? But expect the best. And then capitalize on whatever comes out. So a lot of the times we say, okay, if it works, this is great. This is what I wanted. This is fantastic. But capitalize on whatever comes out also says, if this doesn't work, what is the next step? What's going to make it even better? Now that I figured out this doesn't work, I learn from it. That's why the way it's not a failure. And then move forward. I love that. That's a complex quote. And the last quote I got you is not going to be across the screen. I'm going to actually stop this. It's not going to be across the screen. It's in this book, Interpretation of Quotes for Business Success. Okay, this is by a good friend of mine, Tom Libby. It got released earlier this year. And he, in the back of this book, is motivational, inspirational type of quotes. And I get a quote from Stephen Covey. I don't quote Stephen Covey too often. And when I see something of his and it's just great, and it is great today. So I'm not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. That's right. All of us think that we're a product of our circumstances, what's going on in the country now with the economy, or my childhood that I didn't have any control over. And that's very popular. I grew up poor, I grew up abused, I grew up this and that. You're not the product of that. You're the product of the decisions you've made since then. You're the product of the decisions you've made. And that goes back to taking control. That goes back to creating your future. That goes back to starting the things you want. So I love this. We all need to be inspired. I'm glad if you come here to get inspired. I will do my best to continue to inspire you. Joan, you always have high expectations and it works for you. Yes, indeed. I'm going to do my best to continue to inspire you, but look elsewhere. This book, if you haven't read it, there's a new edition of this book, if you haven't read it, pick it up this weekend. I'll be launching on Friday, and the ebook edition will be available at a very, very great price. Not reasonable, great. It's going to be under $1. So it's easy for you to pick up. There's no excuse there. On Amazon. So my book's going to be on Amazon. Look for the links, look for the posts that I'll be posting on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and we'll get there. We'll get you there. By the way, you get the book, you can actually reach out to me through the book. There are links in there that you can get hold of me. All right. This has been another great Tuesday. I hope this has been great for you. This has been great for me. I loved it. You have yourself a phenomenal week. And you don't have to wait for the circumstances to be phenomenal. You don't have to expect the circumstances to be phenomenal. You just have to want yourself and make yourself feel phenomenal the entire week. And you can do it no matter what comes. All right. Take care, all. Bye.